Welcome back. Well, yes, we did reach out to those parties involved in that matter, but Mr. Femi Bamishile, they say they've got a meeting in Abuja today, so they were not able to make the program. But we're also going to connect soon, we hope, with Mr. Biodun Oyebanji, who they allege was the favored one in this matter. But in the meantime, we'll just examine what transpired and could it have possible implication on the big picture in terms of the forthcoming convention of the party. To do that, we'll go to Abuja. Malpa?
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. We have with us this morning Mr. Aliyu Audu, who is the convener of APC Rebirth Movement. You're welcome to Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I don't know if you were in Ekiti. Were you in Ekiti at any point in time?
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, but I'm sure you were monitoring events right there.
Yeah, sure.
It does look like there's plenty of discontent, as you could hear from all the other aspirants who are trying to clinch the governorship ticket for the Ekiti governorship elections. But it doesn't look like they're happy with the outcome, or will I say with the process that finally threw up the governorship candidate. What did they tell you went wrong there in Ekiti?
I mean, I think it's nothing new at this point after the same experience in Anambra. You know, it's clear. It's not that people usually have problem with the outcome. It's always the process. You know, I mean, with 8 contestants, each of them knew only one person was always going to win. But I mean, even if you don't,
they knew
win,
that all along.
I mean, everybody knows. Like you either win or someone else wins.
Okay.
You know, but what you expect is, you know, a level playing field, fairness, justice, and, you know, so that when you don't win, you understand, you are able to measure your performance and probably be able to go back and work, you know, for another time. I mean, if a process is, you know, transparent, credible, and fair, you know, most likely you will have the others who don't win work with the winner, you know, for the benefit of the party. But when you take as much as, you know, 24, 23, 25 million from an individual, and you don't even give him, you know, what's it called, fair ground to contest and test his popularity, you deny him his human right. It's an abuse. So, I mean, these are the things, you know, they do that make reconciliation almost impossible. You don't deliberately, you know, offend or hurt someone, and then you want to force reconciliation on them. We experienced, we got the judgment from Anambra State, and we are repeating the same thing.
Why does it seem that parties never learn? And I say this, even though, yes, it's the APC that is being scrutinized here, the story is not any different in the PDP, especially when you look at what is happening, what has happened also with their own governorship primaries. But tell us about your party. Why is it that it seems that your party is not learning from its own mistakes?
I think, yeah, parties don't learn in Nigeria because clearly, I can't say it enough. We don't have enough quality of Nigerians, enough numbers in terms of quality of human beings, you know, Nigerians in our partisan politics. You know, I mean, for obvious reasons, you know, the long rule of the military, you know, has kept the good minds, the good heads away from, I mean, they're not yes people. What we have are largely jokers, are people who would rather, you know, force their personal opinion on people instead of going for a fair contest. I mean, there's really nothing wrong anywhere in the world to be influential. Be you a local government, a council chairman, a rep member, a senator, a governor, formal or sitting. You know, you can bring this influence to bear in the election in your, I mean, when you decide to back your preferred, you know, aspirant or candidate. That's fair, that's normal. But what isn't is when, I mean, when you have 8 aspirants and you have 7 of them, the same thing happened in Anambra State. We had a number of aspirants in Anambra State ahead of the election coming out to say this is not primary election and we are not going to take this. And we know how that turned out for us in the general election. We had more votes in primary election than we had in general election. You know, why we do this thing is what beats me. I mean, I can't even imagine why you keep doing the same thing and expect different results.
But tell us what happened in Ekiti here. I mean, you know why this is important. I mean, we saw the big furore over the president's refusal to give assent to the electoral act based on the mode of emergence of candidates. It was over direct primaries, or I think the National Assembly just, stayed put to direct primaries, but he said he wanted 3 options: direct, indirect, and consensus, and all 3 options have now been accommodated. And it's because of situations like this that the House, that the National Assembly initially said, oh, they were sticking with direct primaries. Interestingly, the situation in Anambra was direct primaries. Now, I think the method employed here is indirect primaries, and it doesn't look like it has also given the desired outcome. So what exactly transpired here from what you heard that could have flawed the entire process?
You see, I think one of our biggest problems is lack of planning. Be it consensus, direct or indirect primary, we don't plan well. I'll take, for instance, our national convention is supposed to be less than a month away. Mm-hmm. And, the zoning arrangement hasn't been done. We know it has to be done. It hasn't been done. We have all of, the activities pushed towards 10 days to the convention. You're supposed to do screening less than a week to the day of the convention, and there should be an appeal a day or 2 after that. So at the end of the day, you find out that you have the final list of contestants for different positions coming out a day or 2 before the convention. This is a national convention where you're supposed to reach out to delegates coming from 36 states of the Federation and the FCT. Then you ask yourself, we had all this while we, my group, we've been crying all along from August last year. We've been saying this. This didn't happen in December that it was supposed to happen. This is February. We are almost at the end of January and nothing concrete has been done. Same thing with the primaries. When people plan, when you're honest about the process and you plan, you gain people's trust. You gain aspirant trust. You gain delegates' trust. But when you leave everything to last minute, it's because you have a plan, to shortchange the system and impose a candidate on, you can hear the aspirant clearly say it's. I don't think it's very easy or it will be common to go to a contest when you are treated fair and square, even when you don't win, then you come out and some of us have contested the election. I ran for local government chairman here in 2015 in primary. There were a lot of, attempts to make the primary, unfair, but we resisted it at some point. It happened the way it should have happened. I didn't win. A couple of others didn't win. We came together and realized, we've given our best. We didn't win. Let's support the winner. And that's how we supported the sitting local government chairman in Abuja Municipal Area Council now. So why can't we do the same thing? But there is always that interest to want to impose candidate. Use your influence. If you've done so well in your position, be it national chairman, governor, if you've done so well, you should be able to influence people's opinion on your preferred candidate, especially if the candidate is popular.
What I'm asking is, how was the process scuttled here in Ekiti?
I really do not understand, to be honest with you. I really don't. I really, really do not.
But if people were to use their influence in a way that was not fair, how would that happen in a party where indirect primaries perhaps is the choice for the day?
Now, why indirect primary is a lot easier right now? It's to actually do effective direct primary. I've been involved in committees where we conducted direct and indirect primary, and I'll tell you there are challenges with direct primary because of records. Then, of course, logistics. If we really, as a party, want to adopt direct primary, then we must learn to plan ahead of time. We cannot do, like for Ekiti, for instance, if we wanted to do direct primary, I don't think it's something we would have been able to do overnight or in one day. Probably would have taken it either senatorial zone by senatorial zones, where you can have all of your people coming in to conduct the primary election. But then again, you don't use people who have stakes in the election as umpires in the same election. Like the aspirant have alleged, you use aides and people who are loyal to the governor, who are loyal to his preferred candidates to conduct election. The outcome is almost, if like the winner, said on TV that they're all, close to the governor, then you understand, you ask yourself why the first person gets over 100,000 and the next person is getting 700, less than 1,000. If the rest of them actually know they are that unpopular, do you think they really want to waste their money and do all of this? It shows clearly that we are not ready to do the right thing, which is what the APC rebirth movement has been about. We cannot deliver on the promises we make to Nigeria. We cannot build on the legacies of Mr. President if we don't learn to do the right thing. Let's understand something. We are not going to have that 8, 9, 10 million vote that Mr. President always have. We're not going to have it. So the one thing we can have is to be able to have the little votes that every individual can put together. I mean, they will always bring this vote if they feel they've been fairly treated. How impossible? I mean, this candidate perhaps still would have won if they had done things fair and square. So why not just do it? But because they are not sure of themselves, they are always afraid of contest. And this is why they push and they impose candidates on people. We can't be a progressive party. We can't be a party of change if we keep doing things the way the other party did and they went down.
Well, I guess I will wait to hear from, all the other side. We heard from some of the aspirants after the contest was done, and it does look like the message they had wasn't very pretty. And we're yet to see the entire picture of just what transpired from those who conducted the primaries. But so far, we're not able to pinpoint precisely what we can say went wrong with that particular primaries. But I can see that you already have fears as to what the congresses will hold for your party in February. From where you sit right now, I see the papers still, taking the story. Despite denial, APC chieftain says zoning list genuine. You say that there's been no zoning as of yet, but it does look like there's a list that has come out, and there's been denials that no, that's not the real list. And now some people are saying, no, that is the real list. I haven't seen this list. Perhaps you have. But what do you make? I mean, when you see this type of thing happening as a party member, what are your thoughts?
It shows clearly lack of trust in leadership. That's the truth. If to be honest, I didn't see the list, but I saw the communication from the caretaker committee, by the chairman, who said, who denied, knowledge of such list. But that should be enough to put that story to bed. Mm-hmm. But if it doesn't, it means the majority or, a large number of the party members don't trust in the leadership. I mean, currently you're the CEO of the party. You're in charge of the day-to-day. I mean, you're in charge of putting the committees for the convention. That's what the name of the committee is about. Caretaker Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee. So if you come out, if the caretaker committee chairman comes out to say there is no such list, we should all be able to take it that there is no such list. In any case that certain people come out, then it shows that these are the fears we have. These are the fears we have. This is why I think all of the reconciliation effort will not yield tangible results until people see honesty. Until people see, transparency, until people can trust your words, until people can trust the process.
Let me go back to the Electoral Act as amended, because one of the things that people were talking about ahead of this, ahead of the governorship elections in Ekiti, was that let the Electoral Act be ready ASAP so that they can they can test run the Electoral Act. Now, when the consensus option was included in the Act, as amended, it was not accepted initially by the House of Reps. It was just the Senate who put the consensus option. But eventually, they went on to amend it in such a way that it became amenable to both the House and the Senate. They had certain safeguards in it. Do you think that if the Electoral Act had been fully amended and assented to by the president, do you think it would have made a difference in the conduct of the primaries as carried out by the APC in Ekiti?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, let's understand something like the three options have always been there. And I'll say it anyway, it was just an act of selfishness, on the part of the legislators, especially the House, to try to save their heads by going selfish. I understand why they were going for direct option. It's as a result of this. They want to reduce the dominance or the control the sitting governors have over, delegates, over their own return to the hallowed chambers.
Well, does it really make a difference? So if, for instance, what you have said happened in Anambra, does it really make a difference? Because look, when you look at how much time we spent on that issue, you have to ask, was it really going to make a difference in terms of how political parties conducted their affairs?
Yes, it will. You see, first thing first is, I think the first things are the things Mr. President, is doing right now. I mean, policies, laws, putting them on ground. Then we now start testing these laws. We're just about 23 years, old of uninterrupted democracy. Let's understand something that these are the things we have to go through. The quicker, the speed of, making that turn depends on the quality of people we have in politics. So when we say if it makes any difference, as good as direct primary is, it needs effective planning. It needs, application of tact, application of skills, ideas, innovation to ensure that it produces the result that it should produce. But you have people running the affairs who do not believe in these things or who don't even think it is possible. You can't do it if you can't imagine it. That's the greatest problem we have in our politics, not just any political party, because we have people who are the hems of affairs who don't believe, and that has somehow, moved into governance. Because as much as people out there think it is possible, if you have people at the driver's seat who don't think it is possible, they will never move to make it happen. The direct primary, as effective as it can be, needs to be effective in itself, in the sense that, okay, I was part of a committee that conducted direct primary in Adamawa State in 2018, ahead of the 2019 election. I'll tell you, it wasn't anything easy. But we did, at senatorial level for Adamawa Central, we did indirect, where delegates came from all of the constituency under that senatorial zone to the center where we did this. So what we had was all of the aspirants, then all of the party escorts, identify all of the delegates and confirm that everyone on the queue is supposed to be there. Then they were accredited, then they moved into the hall where they were given their ballot papers to cast their vote. At the end of that primary election, the winner of that primary election won the general election, and that happened to be the only one we won. And prior to that primary election, we had 2 senators, but the other 2 senatorial zones where we had returning senators, they didn't win the general election because the other aspirants felt hard done. But the Adamawa Central, we won. I can remember the lady named the senator, the woman Hajia from there. She was the winner of but all the other aspirants saw everything that happened. Because the best we did was to ensure that everybody, felt treated. If there were any, question about somebody's, eligibility to vote, we called all of the, contestants to verify. We came to an agreement.
So from your own experience as somebody who is dyed-in-the-wool party man, what would you recommend for your party? Which mode of primaries would you say is the best one that has produced, candidates that are rancor-free?
Considering the fact that how the delegates for the indirect primary emerged, from the Congress, we have these delegates for indirect primary usually are, elected through the Congress. And we have a lot of people. Part of the issues we have in the party today are the fact that people don't, they didn't trust the Congress processes. So they won't trust the outcome. So until that is, rectified, the direct primary remains the best option. But it comes with its own, challenges, logistics, because of the numbers involved.
So you prefer direct, but you see the challenges that are involved in it.
So we must, where we have enough time to plan, where for a state, for instance, we don't have to rush to do everything on the same day. To make it effective, we move all our resources, men and materials, to a particular senatorial zone and do that effectively. We find out that in developed democracies, these are done, different times in different zones, different states. We can do same. We're not reinventing anything. Like Ekiti, for instance, if we're going to pick direct or indirect primary, pick a senatorial zone, finish it. The following, they move to the other one, finish it. Then the most important thing is every stakeholder, every participant in the election must have that feeling of having been fairly treated or having been given the level playing field to test his popularity. But in a case where they don't have that, that is what we have. That's the problem we have.
Let me flip this to my colleagues in Lagos.
Oh, yes, we've got Mr. Biodun Oyebanji, governorship candidate of the APC in Ekiti State, joining us this morning. Good morning, and thank you for joining us on the program. Well, I know you heard the allegation, 7 of those aspirants saying that the process was manipulated in your favor, right from the papers, the sheets being given to loyalists of the governor, and then they were jubilating and how they feel miffed and saying, look, all is not well, and that come June 18, it may not just go well. What's your impression about this?
Well, good morning, viewers, and thank you so much. All is well, and June 18, all will be well. The process, from my own point of view, is credible, is free, and is fair. We all participated at a stakeholder engagement a day prior to the primaries, and we all agree on the guidelines. And the following day, people went out, they were accredited, and they voted, and there are visuals all over, showing party members went out to exercise their franchise. People are entitled to their opinions, but not to their facts. The allegations are not true.
But how do you think that all 7 of them will be on the same page about this particular matter? Because some would have thought, if it were not true, maybe 1, 2, 3, but all 7 of them saying, no, this is unacceptable to us. Doesn't that bother you?
Well, I'm not bothered, but the truth of the matter is this is a contest, and a candidate must emerge. And in every contestation, people may differ about the process, about the tactics. But as far as I'm concerned, the 7 people are respected gentlemen. We are brothers. This is a family issue, and I'm sure that's going to be resolved. It's just a storm in a teacup. I'm not bothered.
I don't know if one of the contestants who spoke with us a little earlier saying that, look, they may, it sounded as if they may, be working against the party in the coming election. I don't think that sounds to me like storm in a teacup. 7 of them all saying they are disenfranchised and they could react. Is there any plan by you or others, your loyalists, to call everyone to a round table and have peace?
The process is ongoing, and I will not want to join issues with my brother on air on this matter. I've reached out to some of them, and we are talking. It's going to be resolved. It's a family matter.
But then, if it is like this, there are those who will wonder, look, having invested so much and gone so far, and then only to be disenfranchised at the end of the day with the hope and an expectation that, don't worry, we're going to have a conversation on this matter, and then everyone is going to get what they deserve, and then the matter is going to be resolved. That should definitely bother you, because going by some of the things that Mr. Audu in our Abuja studio has also said, it seems like the process has some very, very serious gay leg, if I can use the term.
Well, with due respect to my brother's aspirants, none of them claimed that they were disenfranchised. They withdrew from the process themselves. They were not prevented from participating in the process. And like I said, opinions are, people are entitled to their opinions. And but the fact of the matter is that people came out, they voted, they were accredited. And the process was credible, it was free, and it was fair. And whatever issue that might have arisen from this, I assure you, we will resolve it within the APC family, because they are committed party men. They want Ekiti State to develop, and we are already talking.
All right, Mr. Oyebanji, just give us a moment. We'll go to break, but we'll come back and examine some of the other concerns that they raised about this process. That will be in a moment. Do stay with us. All right, welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Well, just continuing our conversation with Mr. Biodun Oyebanji, governorship candidate of the APC. Well, as we highlighted previously, where all of those aspirants say, look, they just will not settle for this, but you say this will be sorted out. It's a family matter. But some of what they have said is that the process must be cancelled and then we do it again. If they stick to their guns on that one, how do you approach that?
Well, that is beyond me. The party will take a decision. Whatever is taken by the party is okay by me.
Well, let's take a look at some of the issues they raised. And I would like you to respond pointedly because, I mean, this is at the heart of their decision to withdraw. And as my colleague referenced, 7 out of 8. I mean, that's a major one. We'll talk about the result. But, you know, the reason they gave is that, you know what, they say that they expressed shock, rude shock and dismay over the purported list of local government election committee and ward election committee made up solely by party members and political appointees that had before openly endorsed you and supported you. So that is at the heart of their decision. And they say, I mean, it's not fair anyway if you have people who support. It's like having a referee that supports a side, you know, being an umpire in a match. So how do you respond to that?
Well, because we had a direct primaries, the guidelines stipulates that members of the party should be used to run the process, but they must be supervised by the committee that came from Abuja. Every member of the party have a position on this issue. I have not seen the list, in fairness, but the only thing I know is that except you want the committee to use non-party members, which will run contrary to the guideline. So as long as they are members of the party, the governor is the leader of the party, so there's nobody in that party that doesn't have a relationship with the governor.
But they say that, yes, you have to, if you use party members, but how is it that they were already jubilating the day before saying, well, yes, Mr. Oyebanji's got this in the locker. And they just feel, look, members of the party or not, nobody will see that and feel that's a level playing field.
Well, I'm not aware of that. The only thing I know is the fact that I'm the only aspirant that went around 16 local government, 177 ward, 4 times. I went around the Ekiti State 4 times to campaign to the rank and file of the party. And I'm aware that people were mobilized and they were ready to vote. So I did not see any visuals of jubilation. I did not know. I didn't see that. I'm not aware of that. But the process is that 8 a.m., between 8 a.m. and 12 noon, you do accreditation and you queue and vote. So if after voting, if you are jubilating when the result has been counted, I don't see that as an offense.
So what is also quite interesting is the result of that primary election. And for a lot of people, they wonder, how come, especially when you look at the caliber of people that contended against you in the election. So how come you had over 100,000 votes, in fact, 101,703. And, you know, the next person to you had just 760, if I'm correct, 760 votes. That's Okoyemi Bamidele. I mean, that's wide apart. How did that even happen?
All politics is local. And like I told you, I've been in Ekiti State for a long time. I connect with these people. I share in their pains. They see me every day. And we've been together for a very long time. And I went around 4 times to talk to them. And that is the expression of their confidence in myself and my candidature. So it's not surprising to me. I'm even shocked that I didn't score more than that, to be honest. But I've been with them for years. They know me. And we play politics here at home.
So we're looking at a case where the person closest to you got less than 1% of the votes you got. And you say you actually should have gotten more. What were you hoping to get?
Well, I thought, in fairness, because by my own calculation, I thought that I should coast home to around, but more than what I got. Because I did not know the voters' turnout, but there's a percentage I put to it. But the result has been declared. I have no problem with that. But the point I really want to make is that politics is played at home, at the world level, because this is direct primaries. every registered members of the party voted. And they came out to express their preference for a candidate of their choice. And they have done that loudly.
But Mr. Ibanji, if you say, well, you thought you should have gotten way more than you got, maybe, who knows, if it's 200 or 250,000 that you thought you should have gotten. No, I said maybe you were looking forward to 200,000. Okay, how many were you looking forward to then if it's not that?
It's okay, I'm okay, don't let us go to that.
But isn't that an indication that, wait a minute, you knew what was going to play out and how it was going to play out? So isn't that an item of truth in what all those who are protesting are saying?
My people know me very well, and it's the party members that voted. Thank God it was an open demonstration of where you are standing. The poster of the candidates will be carried, and they will line and they will queue behind the candidate of their choice. So it's the expression of their confidence in me.
Take this to Mr. Leo Audu in Abuja, who's been responding to this. And first, for the results, over 101,000 for Mr. Oyebanji, and then the next, the runner-up got less than 1,000. Does that, for you, show that, you know, the people indeed know Mr. Oyebanji and the others, they don't?
It's pretty difficult to understand if you consider that some of these guys are, you know, elected, officials like senator, rep member, or former rep member, and you would expect that anyone who has won general election, you know, numbers of tens of thousands will be able to muzzle at least 5,000, you know, votes direct primary from his own constituency alone. You know, I can imagine as a sitting senator, or as a senator, you know, from your constituency, you should be able, you know, to have your followers come up in number, at least give you 1,000 votes. You can't be that unpopular. You can't be that unpopular if we are being honest. You know, so, I don't know, man. It's just somehow.
In that same vein, Mr. Audu, what are the things that you expect would happen now? What are your... Well, I know that you have expressed some fears, you know, previously, but this is the situation now. And as you've heard Mr. Oyebanji said, it's a family matter and it's going to be resolved. What are your expectations and what are your hopes?
You see, to be honest with you, the 8 aspirants are eminently qualified for the position, and you know I'm pretty confident, and I like the approach he has taken to reach out to the others and find an amicable solution to this because of how crucial it is for the party to retain Ekiti ahead of the 2023 election. We are all at some point going to have to, you know, come to a point where we agree to, you know, put the victory of the party, you know, ahead of, you know, individual, you know, aspiration or something going forward. But most importantly, there have to be commitment by himself, the party stakeholders in Ekiti, the party leaders at the center, to ensure that we don't keep doing this same thing where we get to, you know, have to beg others to just let's go together, let's calm down and let's.
Okay, just a minute. Let's get to Mr. Biodo and then wrap this up in a minute because, yes, we've just seen, yes, it's actually 767, the second person, Mr. Ojo. But Mr. Oyebanji, looking at how this has turned out, where he says, look, these are elected officials, some of those who are protesting. So, yes, in their constituencies, they equally do have some roots. And so when you see some of these figures, even when they see it themselves, they just wonder, there seems to be more to this than meets the eye. But what do you recommend? How do you plan to reach out and ensure that, yes, even though there are meetings going on, but from your perspective, because you need all of these persons, the party needs them to be together to win the elections. What would you suggest as solutions to this moving forward?
Well, I have very strong relationship with all of them. And between yesterday and now, I've spoken to 3 of them. And we'll continue to meet and look at areas of concern. And jointly, we sit down together and resolve the issues. Why I'm confident that we are going to resolve this is because all of them want the party to win. All of them want the state to develop. So, since they are committed party members, and they are respected Ekiti indigenes. Nobody wants to rupture the system. And in the next few days, I'll be meeting with them one-on-one to look at this. And I'm sure that the party leadership will also listen to them and look to their grievances. Because we are committed Democrats, in a context, there must be a winner. And there may be articles, but I'm sure that at the end of the day, the goal is to ensure that we continue the good work of this government in Ekiti State. And we are committed to that.
All right, then.
I just wanted to, just before we wrap up quickly, Mr. Oyebanji, how strong really is the election base? I imagine maybe 200,000. So are you confident that you'll at least have 200,000 votes in the coming election?
Well, it depends. The APC in Ekiti State is the party to beat. And we will go into the campaign vigorously, campaigning on the achievement of the present administration and ensuring that we mobilize our party members to vote. We have a party registered base of more than 150,000 members, but registered member of APC. If you're able to put them out, and other members that are not registered members of the party, but they are electorates, we should be able to have more than that in the coming election. But I know that mobilization is key to this. We will campaign vigorously and ensure that we mobilize the indigenes to come out and vote.
Let me just quickly ask you one question from here. If your party insists that there should be, will I say, another primary, would you subject yourself to it?
I'm a party man, and I will abide by the decision of the party on this matter.
Okay. Well, I do not know what you make of his responses so far, but from what you can see, do you think that the way to go for your party will be to do another primary, or do you think that reconciliation should be the road to pursue?
I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I have, tons of respect for him. I like his approach. It shows, he's committed to, the party, and it's open to talk. Democracy itself is about negotiation, talk, and, shifting grounds and coming to a common ground. If I don't have a position of my own, but I think all of the stakeholders, especially in Ekiti, starting with the aspirants, sitting together, should be able to come up with, what the next step should be. And I very appreciate, I like the fact that he's open to whatever the collective decision at the end of the day is. So I hope, we don't have to...
You would not recommend anyone to the party?
No, I don't know how.
Considering how strongly you feel about
the process.
Yes.
Yes, but I'm not as much a stakeholder in this particular contest as the eight contestant, including himself, the victor.
Okay. Well, I have to thank you and, of course, Mr. Oyebanji as well for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning. We've been speaking with Mr. Aliyu Audu, convener APC Rebirth Movement here in our Abuja studios, and Mr. Biodun Oyebanji, who is the Ekiti governorship candidate for the All Progressives Congress, joined us from Ekiti via Zoom. Thank you so much for coming on Sunrise Daily this morning.
Thank you for having us.